afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners. Additional work session here on Thursday, July 1st, 2021. It's 3:12 p.m. My name is Ty Menser, Chair of the Board. Commissioner Carolina Mejia on my right. Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards on my left. And the County Manager Mira Chavez. I see County Auditor Mary Hall participating on our Zoom, as well as Darren Bennett and Shannon Brennan. It is 3:12. We've got until 4 o'clock scheduled. The public may follow along. This meeting is live streamed on our Thurston County YouTube channel. The topic for this work session is capitalization thresholds. And
pretty exciting.
The long-awaited briefing on capitalization threshold, commissioners.
best of the year.
As you know, the county is required to track all the many different assets that we have and utilize in the county. And at some point, we need to make sure that we retire those assets. And along the way, the capitalization thresholds, the government, we used to report and depreciate substantially all capital assets, where eliminated the cost of tracking a large number of small value items. So what you will hear today is for your consideration is to increase the thresholds of the specific capital assets, and it will help us manage really as to how we're going to be reporting and the many different assets that we have here in the county. And every year, as you may recall, you take an action to attest to the fact of some of those assets. And years back, we changed that approach in which each office and department attests to the fact of all the many different assets they own and utilize, and that brings back to you on a yearly basis. So this is really a briefing, an attempt to really keep up with the times in a way, and also just keep up with the best practices that we have related to all the many different assets that we have. So Darren Bennett, I think, is going to take the lead on this briefing. Is that right? You're on mute.
How about that? There we go.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Okay, thank you, Romero. Yeah, I'll talk briefly. I'm not sure, commissioners. First of all, thank you very much for hosting us here today. We greatly appreciate having the time that we get to spend today. Thank you very much. I'll talk a little bit about kind of capitalization thresholds, because I'm assuming that you're not accountants and you don't really understand that well. So I'll try to give, I know we have a little bit of time, so I'll try to give a little bit of a background of what we're talking about here today, so you kind of know what's going on. So we're really asking you to approve a resolution that was included in the packet of information here today that changes the county's policy on capitalizing assets by way of what we call a capitalization threshold. And this is going to increase the thresholds of the several different asset categories that the county currently has. And it's really just an administrative change, more or less, that only affects financial reporting. It also affects some inventory and some other areas, but it's financial reporting is the main area. And both the Financial Management Committee as well as our Oracle process improvement teams that were set up, both of those committees are recommending this change. So a little bit of a background of what this is, when the county purchases an asset with a useful life of over 1 year, it gets recorded in our financial system and the financial statements in one of two different ways. It'll get expensed or there's an expenditure. And it will also, could get recorded as a capital asset that will get depreciated over time. You've probably heard the term depreciation before. And the reason for depreciation is you really, you need to match your expenses in the accounting period that is being benefited. So you certainly get a benefit from an asset over many, many years, and you wouldn't really want to record the expense of a really large asset all up front. So you get the benefit of recording it as depreciation, and that's what a capital asset is designed to do. And how you determine this is basically just, it's a dollar threshold, and it's called the capitalization threshold. And it's really the minimum purchase amount of an item that would require it to be recorded as an asset and capitalized rather than expensed as a period cost. So if it's not tracked as a capital asset, it's going to be tracked as what we call, you've probably heard this term, a small and attractive asset. And those are tracked at the department level. So those are like laptops, cameras, those types of things that are likely to walk off the premises. Whereas if a building or a vehicle is not likely to be stolen as much. Our current policy that Ramiro was referring to was adopted way back 21 years ago, back in the year 2000. And it says that all purchases for equipment and for capital assets will be capitalized if it's over $5,000. And really, 21 years, we ran the numbers, and an asset that cost $5,000 21 years ago now has increased to about 7,700. So our proposal here really is, because of inflation, because of general rising prices, to help ease administrative burden and to help reduce the cost of tracking number of assets, and to help folks out who are doing this to be more productive in their jobs, is that we're asking that you approve this resolution here today. Our proposal pretty much mirrors that of Pierce County. Shannon Brennan, who's our detailed asset person, did as well as the process improvement team, did a really good analysis back a year or so ago, where we studied a lot of different counties in the state as well as some other cities. And we really like the one that Pierce County has. So this one pretty much mirrors what Pierce County is currently doing. And we want this change effective January 1st of 2022. And it's going to be with asset purchases starting at that time. So I'd be happy to get into the resolution itself and kind of explain what the change is if you want. Do you have a copy of the resolution there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hey, I do have just a quick question, Darren.
Yes, sir.
Apparently, so in 2000, they made it go from, it was $1,000 prior to that, then they changed it to $5,000 in 2000, and it says resolution 7,582. How many years had went by since they bumped it from, the 1,000? Do you know? I mean, was it like back in the 70s or something, or?
1,000 is
60s?
awfully low. Shannon, would you know?
I don't have that historical information. I just was a part of the original, from changing it from the 1,000 to 5,000.
Okay.
But I could research that if you're interested.
I mean, it doesn't affect my decision. It just looks like this is a normal government adjustment as time goes on.
Yeah, and I think back in 2000, it was reviewed, because that's when the county moved to new financial software at the time, Munis, and they had a similar type of a team that suggested this be increased from 1,000 to 5,000, and we're doing the same thing now when we're moving to Oracle. That we really feel that that modernizing our practices that will allow us at least a smoother transition into the Oracle software.
And all these suggestions in this new resolution are all okayed by the state auditor and everything, right? We're just.
Oh yeah, actually, one of them, we reference the state auditors. They have it's our Bible more or less of financial reporting. It's called the State Auditor's Budgeting, Accounting, and Reporting System Manual. It's the BARS manual, if you've heard of that acronym. They have their best practice where they are saying you can either establish a single capitalization threshold for all assets, which we have right now, or you can do different capitalization thresholds for different classes of assets. And that's what we're recommending, and that's what we're asking in our new proposal here.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Darren. I think that's a fundamental difference, because on the resolution passed in 2000, it was a single threshold. Regardless of the type of asset, he's a little more in detail, just to addressing the current need. Can you walk us through what, machinery and equipment and the rest of the items on the different thresholds? I think that
Yep.
that's important.
I'd be happy to. So in the resolution, if you go down the bottom of page 1, so these are our recommendations, more or less. So different capitalization thresholds, different minimum amounts to consider an asset to be capitalized and depreciated here. So the first one, machinery and equipment. This is mainly like what you call your rolling stock, your vehicles, like movable personal property. And we're suggesting that be capitalized from 5,000 to 10,000. You also have like copier leases; those would fall into that category. Infrastructure, you know, that's like roads, bridges, drainage systems, sewer systems, and other long-lived county assets that what are called stationary county assets. And those are considered assets. We need to record those in our financial system, and they get recorded on our financial statements. We're asking that be moved to 75,000. Construction in progress, that's just unfinished capital projects. All the expenses get recorded to that particular item until the project is 90% done, and then it gets moved to a different capital asset. Again, that one's 75,000. Improvements other than buildings, another different category. These are things like parking lots, fencing around areas. There's an arena out at the fairgrounds, campgrounds, reservoirs. Those are some examples of what an improvement other than a building is. So that's $75,000. You know, as you can see, some of these bigger ticket items that, you know, it's a parking lot's not going to cost $5,000. It's going to cost a lot more than that. And a parking lot's not really likely to be stolen. You got buildings and improvements. You know, those are just the buildings that we all are in. And then you've got intangible assets, not including software. And this might be a little confusing, but these are assets that lack a physical substance, and such as land rights and patents, which we have. And then lastly, that's going to, we're proposing 100,000 there. And then the last one, intangible assets, software, including internally developed software. This would be the software like we're purchasing for our ERP, the Oracle system. We're proposing that move to $1 million. Those are big ticket items, and we feel that that's a viable amount. And that's what Pierce County has.
Could you give us an example of, on your buildings, building improvements and leaseholder, what does that mean? That's on the top
What's
of
an
page
example
2.
of a building that would be considered under $75,000?
Yeah, I'm just curious what it is.
Yeah, Shannon ran a list of them, and so for example, there's a horse barn out at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
Equipment storage shed. There's Heritage Hall, Pump House Reservoir. There's a whole bunch of
Okay,
them.
got it. I know. Yep, got it.
Yeah.
I was just
okay.
looking for an example. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, all these, you know, these little barns and all these other things, they need to be accounted for. They need to be, every year, they need to be inventoried, and that all takes time. That takes resources by your fiscal folks out in those particular departments, and eliminating the ones under these capitalization thresholds will free up some more productive time for your fiscal folks out there. And that's one of the main reasons why we're asking for this. It's just, gets to be an administrative burden on some of these areas over time. And we feel we need to modernize our thresholds to, you know, to keep up with the times, really.
Questions?
I don't have a lot of questions about this, to be honest with you.
This is pretty straightforward. Thumbs up, Darren, we're good.
So the next step, as you hear from thumbs up from the board, is for you to submit an AIS for the board to take a formal action during a Board of County Commissioners meeting. And let's plan to have this on forget. As soon as feasible, but on the consent agenda.
Yeah.
You did that? Darren?
Can you hear us, Darren?
It cut out for a second. Can you repeat
Okay,
that? I
yeah.
apologize.
So, what you heard the board is to, they are agreeing with this proposal, go ahead and submit an AIS
Okay,
for an upcoming, board meeting and have it placed in the consent agenda.
okay, no problem.
All right.
Is that all you needed from us?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for the
Thank
gift
you,
of time.
commissioners. Have a
Thank
good
you.
rest of your day.
Yeah, we're adjourned.